So the next step in the process was just to put the kibble down with a base layer of clear. So for this I used some Total Boat Maker Epoxy. I put the kibble down, I put some more epoxy on it just to keep it held down, and then I came back the next day and I topped it up with some Total Boat Thick Set. So Thick Set would be fine for this because it's kind of a shallow pour. So I topped it up to the rest of the mold and then we let that set overnight. So we're back, all of our resin set. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the magic demold here and then we're gonna see how this thing works. So we got our two legs and then the bowl. Just be careful with your circles as you demold this because you definitely don't want to rip anything. All right, so now you can kind of get a better idea of what we're working with here. You've got these recesses in here that will accept these legs. Now I'm just going to put them in temporarily here, but you get the idea because what we're going to do is we're going to fix them with some more epoxy or some glue. And we're going to grab our bowls. And these bowls are standard 32-ounce bowls that you get from Amazon. And I've got this little meniscus and some extra resin just that was over poured over the mold. So it's kind of a sharp edge. So we've got a couple of ways to deal with this. And this isn't specific to the mold. This is just specific to resin in general and physics because it's just the surface tension of the resin in the mold. You can take a sharp scraper and just kind of do this to dull those edges down and just go over it a bunch of times and you'll have kind of the edges all cleaned up and you can roll your finger over it without getting cut. Or you can take like 120 grit and go on an angle and then kind of sand the entire thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sand off these with a high grit sandpaper to make it safe enough to hold. And then I'm going to get some resin and glue our legs in and we'll basically be done. So I sanded down the edges starting at 320 and they worked up to about 1000 and I just did a quick polish. Like I said, that was one of the options. You could have sanded them down, you could use a scraper, you could have used a router bit to chamfer the edges and then sand them again, up to you. But all we have to do now to complete this dog bowl is flip it over and either using some super glue or epoxy resin or even super strong hot glue is glue the legs in. So I've got some JB Weld clear welding epoxy, which is like 5-minute quick setting epoxy. So I'm just gonna drop some here. We don't need too much because it is gonna be a nice tight fit. And if you put too much in, you're gonna have it coming out of the edge and making a mess. We don't wanna do that. So I'm just throwing some down there. I'm gonna give it a quick mix. I'm gonna take our legs with the upper side out, so the side that was exposed at the above of the mold, because obviously that's where you get the most texture. And we will just pop them in place like this. And they don't fit super tight, which is why you need that adhesive, especially after you've sanded those edges off. There's a little bit of a gap around them intentionally, so we definitely need to use something to stick them in and keep them there. All right, I'm gonna come back in about 10 minutes. We'll flip this over and we'll see what the final product is. Well, that's my sample project for the Makers Challenge Central Epoxy Showdown 2024. If you want to get your hands on one of these molds or any of our other 200 plus incredible, thick, durable, made in Canada A silicone molds, craftedelements.com is where to do it. And of course, if you want to participate in that Epoxy Showdown, you have until August 25th to get your entries in. Head over to makerchallengecentral.com or at Maker Challenge Central to get details on how to enter and participate, because we are going to be giving away some cool prizes. All right, guys, thanks for watching and happy making.